So I have said many, 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 many times that I am center right, moderate. I like some liberal ideas, some conservative ideas. Nothing extreme at all. I'm very, very center. Always have been. And the political landscape has shifted so far left that I just feel like the 23% of the population that are these ultra liberal progressives are just alienating everybody else, and everybody seems to be shifting more towards the right. I don't know. What are we going to have? A super Republican Party because they have gained all the middle moderates now because the left is too far and too extreme now? Now, this is an article, and we're going to go into a few different things. We're going to segue into a few things, so strap yourselves in. I'm going to cover a lot of things, and we're going to go over a lot. But I like to take things to their absurd natural conclusion. And this is a good example. A 45-year-old kiddie porn enthusiast who identifies as an 8-year-old girl is sent to a prison for men. And thank God. But we live in a society where we are expected to accept someone for whatever they identify, no matter what. Restrooms are now being open for whomever, one by one. And it's this whole thing that's like, wait a second, can we put the brakes on it and put a little bit of common sense to this? Now, thank God the judge saw through this, and he sentenced him to a minimum of 10 years in a prison for men. Thank God. But what if more people who get caught with this take up this cry and say, well, I also identify as an 8-year-old girl? I kid you not, at some point, some ultra-liberal professor somewhere will write a book and do a study saying that this is a real thing, and then we come on this thing where you say, well, now what do we do? Because this professor has said this, and it started a movement, and it will happen. Another thing ultra-liberal ideas don't seem to take in effect is the idea that, hey, businesses need to thrive, employees need to have money. In order to do that, we can't have this open-door policy. And this is going to relate into immigration here in just a second, so just watch, just strap in. You can yell at me later. Starbucks slides the most in 7 months after telling investors profit growth is slowing. Now, they're going to tell you all kinds of financial reasons in this article. If you wish to look into it, I highly encourage you to. I'm just giving you my opinions. One of the big things that Starbucks did that was a downfall was have these ultra-liberal ideas of if you don't want to pay for coffee, you can sit in Starbucks, and if you sit in Starbucks, you can go and use the restroom. You don't have to have a key, you don't have to ask, don't do anything, don't buy anything. Well, one, that takes up space that a paying customer can get. Two, human nature. All right, your door's open, it's cold, it's hot, you're air conditioned in the summer, you're heated in the winter. Who's going to sit in there if given the opportunity to just sit there, not have to buy anything, and be able to use the restroom whenever they want? Well, people who need that, the homeless, people who are, and that doesn't bode well for paying customers to go in. I know. We don't live in an altruistic society. Imagine that. We all don't look at homeless people and have a good, kind heart. Human nature. Imagine that. I was homeless. I used to be that gray man that people would ignore. I've eaten out of dumpsters to survive, so I have a big heart for the homeless. But I also have a big heart for the United States as a whole, and I want us all to be successful. And in order to do that, we've got to draw lines, and we've got to say, hey, enough is enough. There were reports of employees quitting because they didn't want to clean the restrooms because they were finding needles in there. Factual. Homeless people, well, they're on the streets. And what do the streets present you with? A lot of drugs. So you're going to get drugs there. You're going to get people with mental illness. And it's going to drive regular customers away, and they're not going to want to pay. And then we have California. My God, California. I was in a discussion with someone, and they had mentioned this article, and they said, yeah, but look, it created a business. These people are making $184,000 a year in salary and benefits. Yeah, okay. Way to look at the silver lining. I appreciate that. Keep that altruistic attitude, but at what cost are they making this $184,000 a year? There are a few employees making $184,000 a year. Good for them. Good for them. But at what cost? We're bringing back medieval plagues that almost devastated the human civilization, and we're bringing them back because the sanitary conditions there, because of the poop, because the homelessness problem is insane. and you're okay with that, and you're justifying it with, wow, there's a few people making $184,000 a year. No, that's not the way you should look at this. You should look at this and be like, damn, man, we have to pay $184,000 a year to people because they are working in these unsanitary conditions, and it is a bad condition to work in. And what are we doing? What policies have gotten us to this point? What's these ultra-liberal open door policies? Look, if you're not going to advertise your address to your house so everybody in the world knows where it is, and leave your door open, just take your keys, leave your door open, and just chuck your keys into the bushes and go to bed. So that way any Tom, Dick, and Harry can come live in your house, then you don't want open doors on your business or in your country. And secondly, on immigration, see, I told you we'd segue into immigration. Secondly, on immigration, think of yourselves as diamonds, right? You guys are all valuable workers. Right now, unemployment is down. Job growth rate has slowed, but because unemployment is down, you would expect job growth rate to slow because people are employed. It kind of makes sense, right? It's common sense. If more people are employed, how are you going to grow the jobs? Because people are already employed. And we're in this really cool part of time right now where you are so valuable as a worker, you can negotiate a better salary because companies need you. They can't fill the positions. Hell, in my position, we're so short-handed throughout the field, they're getting ready to call us the silver-collar workforce because we can't get enough people in. My boss has been trying to hire someone for years, and it's just that way. Every business that I work with, and I work with some of the biggest businesses in the world, very closely with managers and owners, and they're all short-handed, and they're all looking for warm bodies. The economy is good for you right now because you are precious diamonds, and there are few of you, and companies are going to compete for you. If we open our borders and we flood it, your work, your time, thereby you are less valuable to a company because now they have their pick of the litter, especially if people come in and they're willing to do the job for less money than what you're doing. Well, now your time, you're liable to get fired and replaced. Ultra-liberal policies are only good in a perfectly altruistic society where there is no evil and no bad people. That is the only way that ultra-liberal ideas can prosper and be good. The only way socialism could ever work is if everybody was altruistic and said, yep, take my money, let's redistribute it, let's make everybody absolutely equal, and I'll just do the same mundane thing for the rest of my life, and I will be told what job I'm going to do and what I'm going to make, and I'm not going to, make any advancements because there's no profit in it. What's the incentive to invent this thing if it doesn't do anything for me? Because I'm an altruistic person and I am actually looking after civilization. And don't get me wrong, there are people who are altruistic and good for you. But we have to live on the planet Earth, and there are evil people on the Earth, and not all ideas are good, and we have to talk about it. We have to discuss it. It's just, that's what makes America great. That's what makes free speech great. That's what makes freedom of the press great, is that we can discuss these things and we can get into these topics that nobody ever wants to talk about. From the Hill, what are some of the policies that are driving people and businesses out of California? Well, a lot of it is the regulation, environmental regulation, building regulation. They're not allowing enough new houses to be built because of the regulation. Thereby, houses are so valuable. You see, the houses are also like the workers, like I just explained to you as a worker, that you are valuable because you are in demand. Well, houses are in demand, but they're not building enough. Thereby, the value of the house goes up. You see the relation? Well, people can't afford it, and so they are moving out left and right so much that California has lost some political clout. That's astounding. That's astounding. In 2016, McKinsey Global Institute reported that half of California households, 50%, cannot afford the cost of housing in their local market. 50%, that is a problem. You need to build new houses. And I know California, this is going to sound odd, but you need to build more houses and drive down the cost of houses. The housing market will recover. Trust me, it will recover. You drive down the cost of housing. You build more houses. You get people moved in. The cost will rise. It will come back up, but you have got to take that hit right now, because otherwise you're going to lose what you've got right now. You've got to realize that you got to take that hit now. Pay $1 today to save millions in the future. Policies have jacked up the cost of gasoline, are another culprit. Regulation, again. And I understand you want regulation, environment. I know there's got to be this happy medium, though. We can't go to extremes. We're not going to kill all cows and cure the environment. Every solution has its own set of problems. There's no such thing as a perfect solution. Every solution will have its own set of problems. Electric cars. Okay, what do you do with the batteries when they die? Put them in landfills? Burn them? What do you do? Studies have shown that batteries in landfills are worse than what we're doing to our environment now. Its energy costs are going up as well. The state committed to an ambitious goal of generating half of its electricity from renewables, like sun and wind, over the next decade, from 16% today. The problem is we are not there yet. The technology doesn't exist. Solar power is not efficient enough, and solar power degrades over time. Wind power is not the answer either. First, wind power is very dangerous, and it actually is horrible for the environment. Do you know how many birds are killed by wind turbines every day? A lot. Not to mention the turbines spin. They create ice on the ends of the turbine. They become dangerous hazards. So what do? There is no perfect solution. There isn't. But these ultra-liberal ideas are not the solution. They are a problem. But those are just my views, my thoughts, my opinions, and people died for you to be able to have your opinion, and damned if I'm going to step in the way. I'm going to encourage you to have your opinion as well. And like, comment, and subscribe, and help me get over this YouTube algorithm, so that way all of our voices can matter a little bit, because, well, let's face it, we live in a society where money is free speech. I didn't make those rules. But give me your thoughts, your opinions, and give me some engagement. I will see you guys on the next one. I have been keeping up on the Virginia gun rally. There are no incidences as of yet. This video will take a long time to upload. For some reason, YouTube is hitting me pretty hard, especially today, probably because I have been uploading Virginia gun rally videos and the Biden video and the wordage that I use. I'm just sick and tired of having to pussyfoot around the news and use these words. That we should just be able to report the news in a factual, actual manner, and I am giving my opinion. Always remember that. I encourage you to get your news from multiple sources and hear multiple opinions and form your own opinion. You're smart. You've got this. You're smart. I will see you guys on the next one.